I'm Jennifer Christensen, and you're watching Influencing Entrepreneurs with Casimir Ward.
After years of teaching entrepreneurship and consulting business owners, I realized that true knowledge comes from the wins and losses of those entrepreneurs. These are the stories of those business leaders. I'm Casimir Ward, and this is Influencing Entrepreneurs. All right, today we're here with Jennifer Christensen, the CMO and CIO of Beacon Media. Thank you so much for being here today, Jennifer.
Thank you so much. I'm great to be here.
So, I gotta tell you, learning more and more about Beacon Media, and your background is, within the marketing world. There as entrepreneurs, we see these marketing companies. Every marketing company is trying to sell us services, and they have the fix. One of the things that really intrigued me is, the focus that you guys do for marketing is just in, like, uh health and wellness facilities. What caused you to focus in on that area?
I think survival from a business. If you take first that part of it, like as you're structuring your business, I'm a business owner first, marketer second. My whole background is entrepreneurship and sales, and so I tend to think in that mindset first. And you're right, every marketing company, a lot of them say almost exactly the same thing, right? We're going to solve this for you. We're going to produce these results. And so how do you really differentiate yourself and prove value? By focusing on one specific niche, I think it passes the smell test for the potential clients because they know, okay, you've worked with hundreds of people in this area. You know what works. You know my language. You understand me. You're not trying to be everything to everybody.
In being that expert for that field, did the world of mental health, clinics choose you, or did you choose it?
Yeah, it's a great question. We chose it. So we started off as a small, two-woman agency in Anchorage, Alaska, where I still am. My partner is now down in Reno. But we started out as a local agency serving local small clients. And when we decided to scale nationally, we knew we had to pick a particular niche. So we're like, how are we going to compete? What's going to be the differentiator? So we decided to pick the niche, the things that we were mostly passionate about, of what who we really wanted to serve, and also who we had the best results with in Alaska. So we took those two areas and we picked mental health, behavioral health, functional medicine, so wellness, everything related to health. And that's how we grew. We marketed ourselves from the clients we had in Alaska. We used those case studies and then we just started marketing ourselves nationally and they started coming to us.
What where does your passion for that industry come from? Is it from past experience? Is it just, as a lot of us do, I just happen to be good at it? Like, what's the fire behind that?
Yeah, it's personal on both of our sides, which is really neat. So my business partner, her father's an entrepreneur. Her father started the first mental health clinic in Alaska, who's one of our clients, which is cool. But the first actually faith-based mental health, which at the time in the 90s when he did that was very not common. So she grew up with that whole world. Her dad is just an amazing, counselor himself. So she grew up with that background of understanding people. And my side is very different. I had a very serious mental health issue when I was 19. And then my daughter had a very serious issue when she was in her teens as well. But in both situations, one of the most frustrating parts of it was not being able to find good providers. It was, you'd go to websites and it's like, I can't even tell what they do. Like, obviously it was an area I could see a tremendous amount of need. So we both had personal backgrounds. We both had high views of the profession of people that did it really well, and we wanted to serve them.
So how did you so as far as mental health providers, I think we could open up, the phone book if you could find a physical phone book, throw a dart and a name would pop up. How did you start figuring out how to zero in on the good and separate them from the bad ones? Because of course there's bad practitioners out there,
Yeah.
but what is your secret sauce that you're like, no, 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 these are the ones that can benefit because they provide X?
A lot of it is, I mean, so we like the way Beacon is set up and the way I've set up all of our marketing, we have about 50 to 60 leads per month that come into our company, and those are all inbound. So we don't like go out and search for clients. They come to us. And we've always done it that way. We've always done it inbound. And part of that is so that we can really pick and choose who we want to work with. So we are particular about that. And, we're
And these are leads, just to be for clarification, these are leads to hire you as an agency.
right.
Oh, right, okay.
Right. So like we only take on like 4 to 5 a month, right? So we have 50 to 60, some months even more than that. But it does give us that ability to really pick and choose who we want to work with. And a lot of agencies will only pick clients in certain revenue pieces. So they'll only like, hey, you have to be a $2 million company or whatever. We don't do that. We've actually worked with, people that only have like 3 practicing people in their clinics. They have a very low budget.
Yeah.
But we do vet, how do they talk to us? What are they looking for? What are their purposes to grow? Do they have a specific niche? Basically what we're looking for is this a person who's really, really good at what they do? They really serve well, but they're not a marketer. They don't know how to scale and bring that price in. Like, how can we be that good partner to them? And so we do have certain qualifications, like they have to either like we have one of my favorite clients, is a grief counselor, and she's served so many people. I mean, she started out when she came to us as a solo practitioner, now she has dozens of, people that work for her, but she serves this niche, this need that is so needed by so many people, and there wasn't a lot of people in that area, and she just didn't know how to get the message out and to scale herself that way.
Within your niche, I know you said early on it was a lot of based on, faith-based
Yeah.
programs. Do you continue in that, or do you kinda,
So, we have a
uh
whole faith-based continuum, but that's not our only clients at all.
that's not the qualifier, like,
No, not at all. Yeah. So it's just people doing good.
right, yeah.
People that are, and same thing with the wellness space. The functional medicine space, we knew going into that marketing it was going to be really challenging because functional medicine, I mean, now it's more common, but when we started 10 years ago, people that were doing functional medicine, like it's so outside the norm, tremendous amount of education to help people understand why you would go see a naturopath or somebody that's in that particular field. So it's definitely harder to market them. But again, people are doing really good things and they just need to get a clear message out so people can find them.
So when you bring in these clients, they're obviously having issues with their marketing. What are some of the biggest mistakes you see them coming to you with that they've just been doing this thing wrong all along?
I think I think it's 2 things and it's not anyone's fault. I actually think it's the industry's fault. I think it's like you said in the very beginning, when you think of marketing agencies, you think of people that are just trying to sell you something, right? They're just staying there and everybody kind of says the same thing. So because marketing agencies have such a low barrier to entry, they've been told generally a lot of really bad misinformation, So it's not their fault, but often they come in and they have completely like totally I wouldn't say wrong views, but views of just like, okay, well, I can just turn on all my ads and my practice is going to be full and I'm going to scale.
Yeah.
And so generally the biggest mistake is thinking that there's a quick, easy fix. Think of it like a diet. So there's so much misinformation out about diets, right? But most of us know the general basics of, exercising, eating well, most of us know like that is the truth.
Whether we do it or not is
Absolutely.
I'll struggle with, yeah.
No, me too. Like, so but I mean, but but you hear, I mean, daily we're bombarded with here's the latest quick fix that's going to make this, and that's what marketing's like. So again, not their fault, but this is like the environment that we're in. And so we come in and we give them like the basics, like, hey, your website, like, I don't even know what you do. I can't even tell like how to connect with you and book with you. your user experience is terrible. Like, this needs to be fixed. And there's no point in spending thousands of dollars in ads that go to a website that people won't book from anyway.
Is that when you generally start as a website?
Website's huge. We don't always have to, start over with a new website, but we generally, I'd say, I can't think of a time that we haven't had to fix it.
And what does fix it mean? What do people do wrong with their websites?
So I take my whole view on websites is really not, even though we do great creative as an agency, I think the focus is too much on creative. It needs to be on your client. So my whole focus and our team, we have like two phenomenal UX experts on our team. So our whole focus is we actually look at the data. So when people come to your website, we can look at the back end and we can see like where they click their mouse, where they click off, how long they're on there for. And we actually look at all the data to basically, most of us have our own opinion now. I've been doing this 13 years, so I can usually tell
Yeah.
a website's off. But that data then helps us refine to make sure people are finding what they're looking for. Like, you have like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
You have 3 seconds. If your website doesn't immediately at least give them enough information to have them keep going, you're done. And they're on to the next. They're on to the next. So yes, that's the foundational piece. That your Google business profile is foundational. And then your social is now foundational. It didn't used to be, but it is now.
So all of this comes with these skills you've built over the years. Where did your entrepreneurial journey begin? Was it at a young age or?
It, yeah, it was. I think I've always been this way. I've always been a really early adapter. I still remember being one of the first people in line for dial up when it came to our town. And I was like one of the first 100 people to do that. So I was one of the first people on the internet in Anchorage.
So
And
you grew up in Alaska.
I did, yeah.
Okay.
And I was really into computers at like 16. I was the only girl in our computer class. Again, Gen X, this was not common, right?
Yep.
So I just always had like a insatiable desire to learn and then an insatiable desire to build things. So it was the combination of those two things. I generally worked a lot of sales jobs, but after my husband and I got married, um, on our honeymoon, we decided to start a bed and breakfast. We were like, hey, this would be fun on the side while we're both working. So we, within a couple years, because we were like the only ones on the internet, we had one of the most successful bed and breakfasts in Anchorage. And that took off and it got so busy that I actually started a whole new business off of that. And this is like, I'm like 22, I think, at the time. So I started a whole new business off of that, of basically referrals of overflow from, because we were so booked. And that grew into a multi-million-dollar business in my 20s, and that failed spectacularly after 9/11.
Wow.
So that just crashed and burned to the ground horribly. It was just incredibly embarrassing, shameful, like, yeah, massive failure. So I
Well,
built
I
this
want to come.
team.
I want to come back to that. I need to know more about that. But here's to me the $1 million question, because everyone my age is like, maybe a nice retirement job would be to buy something and run an Airbnb breakfast. Jennifer, we're counting on you to us, is it a nightmare or is it as romantic as it sounds?
Neither. It is, if you treat it, if it is an absolute nightmare, if you treat it like, what's the term that I absolutely hate? It's like hands off business.
Mhm.
If you think that you're just gonna run this thing or you think it's going to just run
Yeah.
and you're just gonna get checks and money coming in and you're not gonna have to treat it like a regular business, that is a nightmare.
And I'm guessing it's not a very lucrative, like, it might help you pay for the real estate, but it's not like you're rolling in it.
You have to scale and you have to basically, I mean, it's like any business out there, and this is the part I think is so confusing because Airbnb didn't start this way. Airbnb started as, "Hey, just make a little bit extra money on the side."
Yep.
Then you've got some people that just have maximized that and done an incredible job with it, and they maybe have like 20 different Airbnbs. So
Yeah.
they have scaled it into a real business. The problem is that that example of scaling the 20 has become like this kind of folklore of that anybody can do that.
Yeah.
That takes tremendous business acumen and hospitality. You better like people.
Yeah.
You better be comfortable with customer service, all of those things, right? And then really understand how to create a great experience and do all the business financial side.
Yeah, and well, let's talk about that now because that failure is probably a big part of your success. So you build this Airbnb up, you get this parallel company that can help work all those referrals. Which, to be honest, the fact you've literally got a pipeline that people could buy off of right off the bat. Tell me about the scale up of that business on how that starts to take off.
So it scaled, very, very quickly. I think it was about 4 years is what it really took ramped up and, growing over 100% a year. And basically it was basically like a travel agency, but for, related to bed and breakfast and like smaller units and things like that. But
For the Alaska area, it's in Alaska.
yeah. And really I was always good at sales and marketing. That was always my foundation, but I didn't know what I didn't know. And so I did not have the operations side down very well. I did not have the financial side down very well. And then when there was a major downturn of the market, which was after 9/11, like the whole thing just came down. And the really sad part and the biggest lesson that I learned out of it, and this is what I talk to people about all the time, is that you cannot if you're running a business, assuming that you're not turning it over to like a CEO or somebody else, if you're gonna be running a business, your personal character and your personal development of who you are as a person is gonna be reflected in that business. So at the time in my life, I did not have a good moral compass. I was really just winging it. I mean, for no better purpose or word to use than that.
On a business side or on a personal side, living life every day?
I mean, no, I say more the business was the reflection because I worked all the time. I was building this thing, so I was constantly working. And yeah, no, definitely personal too. Like I truly just did not have the moral character and compass to handle something that big. And I talk about this piece of it like you have to be a great entrepreneur. I feel like you have to have humility and you have to have confidence. So you have to have humility to be able to ask the questions, ask for help, lean on people who know more than you do. And then you have to have confidence in what you're doing, and what you're building. So those two pieces together, and I didn't have either. So
With it, and while you refer to that and we talk about the moral compass, is it just kind of the lack of those soft skills that you're referring to, or is it bad behaviors? Is it like you like
no,
outside?
it was bad behavior. It was like not wanting to face, like if I owed a bill, not wanting to face that, not wanting to deal with. I would avoid things. So like I did not have that part of my character. And coming off of that failure, hitting rock bottom is like when I actually developed that.
Yeah,
So, coming off of that, I never thought I would go back in business again, and I didn't for 10 years. No, like 12 years.
yeah.
So, it's a
But
long time.
so 9/11 happens, it affects the business in the fact that traveling goes down.
Right.
The model,
And then chained to a halt for, like, 6 months, right? Which certainly is not a tragedy compared to 9/11, but,
right?
it highlighted the pieces of me not having our stuff together and not having myself together. Yeah.
Now, and that's kind of where the curiosity on the accounting side of my mind is a downturn for 6 months shouldn't be disastrous for a company, and I'm sure it didn't month 7, it didn't skyrocket,
Right.
but it probably started getting some momentum. Was it what happened during that 6 months, or was it, uh, bad planning leading up to that moment?
Oh, 100% bad planning leading up to that moment. Yeah, other businesses survived that, plenty of them, right? And that's why I say lack of moral compass, that's why I say lack of, humility, of not asking for help, of not, turning to experts and other people, because, like, most things are survivable. Some things are not in a business, but, it certainly didn't have to fail on that scale. That was my responsibility back then.
So, What does failure look like? Is it bankruptcy? Is it just shutting the doors? Is it running into the mountains so no one can find you?
Yeah, I definitely fell off the face of the earth for a while. It was pretty awful. I had legal consequences, with the state. It was pretty bad. We lost everything.
Yeah.
So, sold everything we had. My husband and I, we had kids at the time. Still have kids, but I mean, they were little kids. So, yeah, it impacted every area of my life and took me like a decade to like recover from that financially.
When does the recovery start?
I think the recovery starts when again, this is very personal, but for me, the recovery started like I just came to a moment of faith. I came to a moment of like, hey, life isn't all about what you achieve in life or any of those things. It's who you are as a person. That's the most important thing.
Mhm.
And that's the basis of how you want to live your life. So that's like for me, that's when recovery started on a personal level. And then it was really redesigning the rest of my life to be the kind of person I would be proud of. So that's really what I started doing, and that's how I've tried to live my life since.
And what did you focus on that redesign? Because we all try to rebuild ourselves, whether it's once in a lifetime or every other year, depending on the person. What is the rebuild system?
For me, the core of it, and I know it's different for everybody, but for me, the core of it was faith. So I basically just submitted myself to, I mean, really, it's that AA principle. For me, it's, Christianity, but I submitted myself to like, okay, there's definitely something more than me that I need to focus on. And like, really, like that biblical principles helped me reshape like that character, all those pieces that I needed to live life. So that became the foundation. Then also getting all these people in my life. I have the most amazing people in my life. So, friends and mentors and people that, hold me accountable and all of those things. And then again, I was not planning on going to business ever again. But by the time I got to the point of meeting Adrian, my partner, um, I was just a completely different person. It's back to like, yeah.
And during that rebuilding, do you just go work for other people during that time? Do you just stay low key? What type of jobs do you take along the way?
I took on so I was not expecting anything, because my failure was pretty public. So I was just like, "I'll take any job." I've always been a super hard worker. So, I was like, "Okay, I'll deliver pizza. I'll do whatever it takes. I just wanna be a good person, support my family, all those or to contribute to my family." My husband supported us. But, I got this sales job, and it turned out to be great. I was working in an athletic club, and I did that for, like, 5 or 6 years and then got another sales position, and then eventually, what really led to actually Beacon or me being involved with Beacon is that I eventually got a position that was in a digital it was the first online news site in Alaska, and so with my sales background, they needed to, like, produce revenue, right, to be able to prove the model, and so I got to do that for a couple of years, and that brought me into the whole digital marketing world, and I found out I loved it. So, it was I
Did
just
you like sales?
I've always loved sales.
Okay.
Yeah, not sales in the traditional I mean, sales has such a bad name. Not sales in the traditional sense. I love, connecting people. So to me, the best sales are if you're connecting somebody to either a product, service, or a person that they really need or want. Like that, I love that. Because like to me, you're making the world go around a little bit better, right?
And good sales is just being a decent human being at the
It
end of the
really
day.
is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything we do in business is a marathon. So it is very while it can be competitive, it's like keep doing the right thing. It does eventually pay off.
I wish more people would talk about that. I wish more people would talk about the marathon. And that's, again, looking back the first time I didn't know any of that. It does, I mean, that's a whole separate situation. But like this time going into it, I knew it was going to be a long, like you have to build the foundation properly. Um, and but still, it was a lot longer than I thought it would be. I'm not gonna lie, it was still, I thought, okay, certainly by year 3, we'll be in pretty good shape. And it took a lot longer.
So what gets you to start up Beacon?
It was just a series of, like I guess like my life has been many times, but it was a series of unique events. I had that very unique position where I had worked, and done the digital marketing, and sales for that news site. And digital marketing in Alaska, this is completely new. So this is back in like 2008, 2009. So this is completely new to the market. Nobody's doing it up here. And I fell in love with it. I actually get like the first certificate in it from University of San Francisco, even though it's totally outdated by the time I get it. So I'm like fascinated by it, finding something I love. And so my grandmother got really sick and she moved in with us and I was taking care of her and I couldn't work at there anymore. But after I left, I had multiple clients reach out to me and say, "Hey, you seem to know a lot about this stuff. Will you help us?" And so I just was doing it on the side. It was like a small thing. But as is, I think the way that I'm wired, I love to build things. So like once I was like, "Oh, okay, this could be a great kind of, little side business. I could do this. I'm not really a business owner. I'm just a solo, kind of doing my own thing." But then I kept running into problems of not being able to find somebody who was good at websites, not being able to find somebody who's good at design. And I was good at the marketing, but I needed that part, and people kept flaking out on me. And then 2 times in 1 month, Adrian and I, my partner, showed up for the same client. So she was doing the web graphic side, I was doing the marketing side, and we immediately clicked. This is a very weird coincidence, but there was 2 books shipped to the Barnes& and Noble in Anchorage, Alaska, that were on inbound marketing, and both of us had bought those books.
Yeah.
And so we, like, realized, okay, we're the only 2 people in our town that are, like, care about this. And I told her in the beginning, I told her about my past, told her about my failures. I'm like, "You don't wanna go into business with me." And she's like, "Well, actually, I do because I love the business side and, like, the financial and all those pieces of it, and you're great at the marketing side, so this could be great if we do this together."
So as you start to build the company over time, what are some of the big successes and milestones you hit once that kind of shake the feeling that was covering up your confidence? Like
Yeah,
where do you start get where does Stella start getting her groove back?
that's such a good question. I think for me, I have a pretty high bar for myself, like, in general of just how I view what success means, like, it has to be excellent. And so the first, like, time I remember feeling very good about what we were doing was when we were getting really good results. So, like, when, like, businesses were coming back and, giving us really positive feedback, like, that started to just it was like that feedback loop of, "Okay, something I'm doing is making an impact," right? So that was probably the first time, and it was like, "Wow, we're learning this thing, other people aren't doing this. This is really helping small businesses." Like, that just felt incredibly good. Obviously, marketing doesn't work for everybody, so, like, those negative feedback things once in a while would be like, "Ooh," that would shake me pretty hard. And what built over time was just learning that trying to figure out, okay, well, why does it work here sometimes and why doesn't it work here sometimes? And really narrowing that down. The more I narrowed that down, the more positive feedback, the better I felt. And then I think the next big milestone was definitely when we scaled nationally. So when we went outside of Alaska and started and realized, okay, it doesn't matter that we're in Alaska. We can compete, we can do a great job, and we got actually even more positive feedback nationally than we did locally. It was a much easier market than it was to market in Alaska.
Where do you even start going nationally? Because going from just one state to 2 sometimes can be overwhelming, but to just go nationally, like, what does the ramp up look like that to actually make it scalable?
So it was easier then than I would say it is today. So we, obviously used our own principles. So we used inbound marketing. So we used blogging, we used articles, we used social media, everything we could to focus again on a niche. And I do think, again, that's a big problem that I see a lot of businesses make is they want to grow, they want to scale, but they don't know their specific target.
Yeah.
And so, a mental health clinic in Ohio is actually not very different from a mental health clinic in Alaska or in Florida or in New York. It really doesn't. There's definitely different demographics and different, languaging and things like that. But a lot of what works in one area works in another. So we just basically got ourselves to the top of Google. So we
Yeah.
used all of those principles. We got ourselves on search, and then we just kept building case study after case study after case study to show. And then all of a sudden we were getting like invites to speak at like the mental health marketing conference and, some higher level speaking gigs. It just started, that really grew it from there. Well,
Jennifer, with everything you've been through, eh, where are you today?
I'm in a really good place, actually. I'm in a really, I like my life. I like what I do. It's definitely been challenging with AI over the past year of like figuring it because we're at a massive change, as you just said. So it almost feels like starting over again in some ways of having to like completely go a different direction. But my kids are healthy and well. They're wonderful people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the biggest success you can have. Um, Married 33 years, have a great marriage, good friends. I think I'm pretty dang lucky but to be in that spot. Yeah.
What's part of your life right now that makes it look like to where you can look at the failure of the past and actually thank it rather than shun it?
Such a good question. What helps me do that is helping other people. So if I Because of course there will always be this like, ugh, and not even like the feeling bad about me, but just, I let other people down. Like
Yeah.
that doesn't totally go away. And I'm not sure that it should, to be honest. But um if I can help other people avoid some of those same issues, if I can mentor other people, if I can give information away for free, if I can connect them with somebody that will help them, that really fills that spot for me 100%. So I don't dwell there. I actually don't even talk about it that much anymore, but, I don't really dwell there.
Yeah. No, I've shared many stories of my past tragedies, and I'm like, they are what made the best parts of me today. And you know, uh, don't want to relive them by any means, but grateful I went through them at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, and well, to that point, would I have hit that point where I would've, like, found faith, found all those things? I'm not sure. So, in that thing, it's, like, the best thing that ever happened to me, for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
As we kind of look kind of full circle, I got to ask you, and since you were in the Airbnb world and all that, what is your when you I imagine having you as a guest might be intimidating. What are some of the things you're picking apart saying, "Hey, this is not how it should be done right now?"
Yeah, and my husband and I actually did run one again after the kids moved out. So we did it years later, another really successful one. And I am a high critic. I really am. I feel bad about it, but I mean, most of the time we just stay at Hilton's because my level of like, I'm just like, why are you doing this? Like, don't do this if you're not serious about it. Like, or just charge a rate that is, friends and family type rate, somebody renting a room, which is what Airbnb was originally meant for.
Right.
But you
Yeah,
can't have
now they're worse than the hotels. Yeah.
right, you can't have both. You can't charge, 200-300 bucks a night or depending on your area, right? But, I mean, you can't charge the same or more than hotels and then really make it very obvious that you don't care about you just want the
Yeah.
money.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm sure the decline will continue there.
Yeah, I
So,
think so. So, yeah, I rarely stay at Airbnbs. If I do, I really vet them really well so that I because I don't wanna, like, be thinking that way in my head, that doesn't make for a fun vacation. But when I do, I've stayed at some great ones too, like, where
yeah,
they've really done a good job.
yeah. So what's next for you, Jennifer?
I'm continue growing Beacon. I'm writing a book right now called The Age of Intelligence. So I'm doing a lot of research and I'm at that like really fun phase again, like I was at the beginning of Beacon, of learning about AI, how to incorporate it. I run our tech team at Beacon, so bringing AI into everything that we're doing in a safe and thoughtful manner. Um, and I think we're probably going to be branching off into even doing some AI consulting for marketing because I think that's really going to help. We can help more people doing it that way as well. So I think that's next steps there. And then I'm helping my husband a little bit with his business. His business is doing great. And my daughter's getting married. So good things.
Lots of milestones ahead. What is
Yeah.
one of the things that, as an entrepreneur, you do for yourself that helps you take good care of yourself?
Such a good question, especially because I've been dealing with some health stuff. What I find the most impactful, and I know not everybody can do that because they don't live in Alaska, but I try to do nature like 4 times a week. So we have like mountains literally 15 minutes from me. So I'll drive up to the mountains. I might only walk for like, 3 miles or 4 miles, but in that space, like perspective is everything.
Yeah.
So I do that, and then that's probably my main thing, and then the winter, I don't do that a lot, but I visit my parents in Hawaii a couple times in the winter. That really helps,
Okay.
and then just time with friends and family.
Excellent. Well, Jennifer, thank you so much for your time today. It was a great talking to you. Got millions of questions about Airbnbs along the way, so maybe we'll start up a blog and kind of list the top 5 or bottom 5, which is more fun to, I love
I
to
would
read.
love to use I could totally rock that out. I really could.
Yeah. So excellent. Well, thank you so much, Jennifer.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great.
Thanks for watching. To watch more episodes of Influencing Entrepreneurs, be sure to subscribe on YouTube at Nexagy Education.